I bid you welcome to the Monster Report, a show highlighting those entertaining creatures of film history. Your host, Nick Adam Poling, and today we'll be taking a look at the Universal classic Dracula, starring the legendary Bela Lugosi. Directed by Todd Browning in 1931, the Universal Pictures' Dracula takes the viewer on a journey through Bram Stoker's 1847 signature novel. Much has been said about this classic horror film, so I urge you to see it for yourself if you haven't already. The film defines the word classic, with Hungarian-born actor Bela Lugosi in the title role. I mentioned in the Mummy review that both Dracula and the Mummy share an opening song, Swan Lake, though where the Mummy had several other music cues, Dracula has silenced the orchestra for the remainder of this film after the opening credits. By having no music throughout, director Browning forces the audience to travel the eerie experience of this film without having the score to guide their emotional state. I can't think of another film that uses this technique. Dracula's reveal is slow and hypnotic. His hand appears reaching out of a coffin, and several cutaways later, he's suddenly standing, upright and silent. After making his dramatic entrance, Lugosi is whisked away supernaturally, and he is disguised as Renfield's coach driver. Other than Count Dracula himself, you're not sure who the main character is supposed to be. As far as a protagonist goes, Renfield, played by Dwight Frye, is who the audience follows at the beginning of this film. He isn't a good guy for long, because after encountering Dracula, Renfield goes mad and becomes his slave. Frye pours himself into this role. His performance made the maniacal laughter a staple in horror films. Edward Van Sloan plays Professor Van Helsing. In this film, he is the resident vampire expert. He and Lugosi complement each other well, as both actors have iconic roles. Their characters have a great deal of unspoken communication, seen in a simple look or smirk. Even though they are adversaries, they have a respect for each other's abilities. I love the lines Van Sloan delivers in both The Mummy and in this film.
If I could get my hands on you, I'd break your dried flesh to pieces. And I will have Carfax Abbey torn down stone by stone, excavated a mile around. I will find your earth box and drive that stake through your heart.
He is a thorn in the side of the monster. There was a Spanish-language version of Dracula that was being made simultaneously with this film. They use the same sets, but different actors and filmmakers. Many believe that this version is superior. I'll say this, they're both great. They're available on the Universal Monsters collection of Dracula films. I highly recommend checking them both out. Our monster, as I said earlier, is played by Bela Lugosi. He played Dracula already in a stage version prior to being cast in this film. Notice that Lugosi never blinks as he reads some of the most chilling lines.
Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make. I have chartered a ship. Take us to England. We will be leaving tomorrow evening. For one who has not lived even a single lifetime, you are a wise man, Van Helsing. This is very old wine. I hope you will like it.
Aren't you drinking?
I never drink. Why?
He loves to shiver the spine of his house guests. The pace and accent he used to speak these lines has become the most memorable way Dracula has ever been portrayed. He only played Dracula one more time in films. That was in Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. He wore the Dracula cape to the grave, though, when he passed in 1956. Lugosi has played several different roles for Universal horror films. Unfortunately, his career turned to the status of has-been later in his life. Sadly, he turned to drugs. His addiction would go down as one of the first celebrities to willingly check themselves into rehabilitation. To see another great film that is somewhat of a biopic of Bela Lugosi, check out Tim Burton's Ed Wood, starring Johnny Depp and Martin Landau. Landau won an Academy Award for his performance as Lugosi. Todd Browning's Dracula uses all of the elements that make classic horror films great. From foggy city streets, gothic castles, dimly lit exteriors, storms, shadows, coffins, bats, spiders, bees, possums, armadillos. Dracula was the film that was almost not made by Universal. They feared that the subject matter was too frightening for audiences during that time. Thankfully, they reconsidered this decision, and they ended up with a very profitable film during the Great Depression. And today, we have one of the most iconic images in monster film history. Next in the Universal Monster Reviews...
It's alive! It's alive!
That's right, Frankenstein. We'll see you then.